Do you want help? I'll buy it. I love her. She's very small. Needs some of my snuggles. Hey friends, I am Sarah, also known as Budget Girl here on the internet. And Maggie and I, for as long as Maggie deigns to stay, are going to talk to you about my big money wins and fails of 2020. Because you know what? Even people who are really good with money, and I would consider myself one of those people, have failures throughout the years. Maybe it's because like a decision seemed like a good idea at the time, and then later unforeseen circumstances decided that you could have done better, because hindsight 2020, and thank God 2020 is over. But overall, I did have a really good financial year. So let's go through some of the really big wins and fails. And also, again, on the fails, Lydia Sin said something that just really was like a word hug to my heart in a recent video. She said, none of us are perfect little money angels. We all make mistakes with money. Everyone. Billionaires make mistakes with money. Warren Buffett, I'm sure, has made mistakes with money. So let's get into them, because I am all about showing a fully transparent financial life, which includes mistakes that I wish I didn't make, so that you can maybe save yourself from having that same issue. I'm sorry, this is so distracting, isn't it? She's so cute. My baby. This is Maggie, by the way, if you haven't met her. And she says thank you very much for 75,000 subscribers, right? That's very exciting. She doesn't find it exciting, but I do. I've been on YouTube for 6.5 years now, and maybe I'll hit 100,000 this year. That would be really, really cool. And I'm thankful for every single one of you that chooses to spend some of your life with me, your weird, nerdy internet money friend. I know some of you guys are going to end up being like, I couldn't listen to you because I was looking at your dog the whole time. Okay, so real quick, this, I'm going to show it on screen, was my 2020 vision board. Now, I accomplished actually a lot of things on this list, and there are some things that I didn't. And I think considering 2020 is what it was, that is totally fine. And honestly, any other year, that's totally fine too. I made some huge money moves in 2020, so let's hit on a couple of those. The very first giant win was that I purchased my first home. It is a duplex. It was $230,000 in College Station, Texas, and it instantly made me $10,000 because I bought the home for less than it appraised for. So currently I have about $16,000 in equity, and that's the home worth $240,000 minus what I owe on it, which is $223,000 right now. So that's pretty good. And as you know, I'll have a couple other videos on house hacking and everything below. I actually only contribute $150 a month to my mortgage right now. Jacob, as a renter in my home, since we share bills, pays, and I also have the duplex unit, the renter unit on the other side, which pays for the majority of my mortgage. So that pretty much freed up most of my housing costs, which was something that I used to think was kind of a non-negotiable. You know, you have like your absolute essential bills, food, clothing, shelter. Yeah, I kind of eliminated most of the cost of shelter with this. And I'm still kind of like, and I'm not trying to brag, but it's one of those things where like, I didn't learn about this in school. Nobody told me about it. It wasn't until I got like deep into the personal finance community where I learned how other people were doing these really cool things that I was like, hey, that's actually pretty accessible. I could do that too. And I did. Yeah. Playlist on renovating the duplex below. And there's going to be some more stuff coming on that because I'm about to flip that unit. So let's go ahead and do a fail on this as well. And this was probably my biggest fail of 2020. So there's a it's pretty common advice in personal finance community to not invest any money you're going to be using in the next couple of years. Like, it's a very common advice to not invest your house down payment because you never know when the market's going to drop. Do you know that the market dropped this year? Yeah, some weird crap happened. So But here's the thing, I wasn't planning on purchasing a house this year. I was planning on touring more houses because I've been house shopping in the Bryan College Station area. I was doing it for pretty much all of 2019. I saw every single multifamily unit that came on the market. I saw several single family homes, and I wanted to get a really good idea of how much house I could get for my money. I wanted to really understand the areas. I am not a fast moving person for multiple reasons, but especially when money is concerned, I'm very slow to spend or pull a trigger. So I was planning on taking several years to save up for a house, and I was actually planning on putting down a larger down payment than I did. I had about 20 grand saved for the house, and I was planning on doing like a 20% down mortgage. And that looked at the beginning of this year like that was going to happen. I was planning on staying in the apartment that I was in for at least another year. Rent was really cheap at $665 a month, and it was a good place to stay. So I was planning on staying there. And then a couple of things happened. So first, I finally found a house, this one, that met pretty much all of my criteria for something that I would be willing to invest in. Next, my landlord at my old apartment complex was going to raise my rent by over 30%. Now, I understand, and currently as a landlord, I definitely understand wanting to get market rate out of all of your units. I was paying $665 for a 2-bed, 2 or 1.5 bath, really nice little condo in an apartment complex, and we loved it. It was fantastic, no complaints, really no complaints. But I was paying that because I had previously lived in another apartment complex that got rats. There was a unit next door that was like a hoarder situation, and there was also some flooding issues, and rats were in that apartment. The very first one that I moved to when I moved to College Station, which was a 1-bed, 1-bath unit on the completely other side of town. They couldn't get rid of the rats, and it was a really bad situation. And I had the money at the time to say, no, y'all are gonna take care of this, move me. They offered to move me to another apartment within that same complex. And I'm like, no, if there are rats in one place, there might be rats in another. And I actually was able to convince them to move me to another apartment complex that the corporation owned, or the group owned that complex, which was the last place that I lived. And they moved the lease. So I got a 2-bed, 1.5 bath for the same price as my 1-bed, 1-bath across town. It was a screaming deal. And then they promptly sold that, so they offered me a 3-year lease, because when you're selling apartment complexes, you want to be able to be like, okay, and this many people are contracted in for this long. So I was able to stay there for just about 3 years at $665. Once that lease was up, I understand they wanted to move me up to $1,000 a month. However, I did not want to pay $1,000 a month. With the rent going up, it started to make sense to consider paying PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, which is what people have to pay if they're going to put down less than 20% on a house. For this duplex, that is $155 a month. My rent was going to go up $300+ per month. I had found the right house. I had plenty for an FHA loan down payment. I ran all the numbers 12 different ways. I did all of my research, and it made more sense for me to go ahead and buy than to continue renting for another year just to build up more savings, especially since I would be paying significantly more in housing costs. All that to say, I had been investing the money for my down payment because I thought I wasn't going to use it for several years. And then in March, I found a house that I wanted to purchase, and it made financial sense to purchase. And I had to start pulling some money out of my investments, which, if you remember at the time, now they were on the up when I actually had to pull it out, but overall I had about 13 grand invested, and I lost about $1,000 because I had to pull out of the market, which is an investing rule essentially not to do. Anyone who pulled out when the market was crashing lost a ton of money. And it was not my intention to do that, but that's what had to happen for for me to be able to purchase the house. I have learned, and I will likely not be doing that for the next place that I purchase. But yeah, that was $1,000 mistake that I feel a little haunted by, because at the time I thought that it was like a good move, but it wasn't. And I should have gone with the regular advice of don't invest your down payment. So that was my big like toink of the year. And I'm admitting it to the internet. So if you guys have ever made any big money mistakes, it happens. None of us are perfect little money angels. It's okay. We learn. We live, we learn. And overall, that was probably, I didn't actually lose that much because I had been investing the money. It had been growing, but it was just unfortunate that I had to pull it out when I did to actually finish the purchase of the house. That said, I also gained $10,000 in equity when I bought the house, so that really counteracted that. Okay, next, win. I got a raise at my day job up to $50,000 right before the pandemic hit. Obviously, when this happened, we didn't know the pandemic was going to hit, but my boss, the absolutely wonderful person that she is, really likes to be ahead of things. And I've been working at my job for 3 years now. It was kind of time for me to be able to get an above just like the annual cost of living raise, which I'm so thankful that Texas A&M as a state institution gives, because I've never gotten a raise at another job before, especially when I was a journalist. Like, that wasn't a thing. You had to move to make more money. At A&M, they actually give you usually annual cost of living raises. I don't think that happened this year because of the pandemic, but in previous years I've gotten it. They treat me really well there, and I really love my job. So I'd been there 3 years. It was time for like a little title bump. It was time for a slight raise, and she wanted to, being an incredibly wise person she is, she wanted to put it in before the annual reviews, because obviously everyone's putting in for raises at annual review time, and she thought I might be able to get slightly more if it went through in like February versus June, which is amazing. And I was able to actually get that. I think I got like a $3,000 a year raise. I got a slight title bump, and that's just absolutely incredible. I think it actually only came out to a few $100s a month, but I will absolutely take that, and I think I mostly just threw that into savings and investing. But I didn't want to talk about it at the time because like the world was imploding when the raise actually like went through and got approved, and I started getting the slightly higher paychecks. It didn't seem super respectful to what everyone was going through. But that did happen this year. That was a win, and I did want to acknowledge it at some point. Another win that happened this year is I actually took my first international trip. This was in January before the pandemic happened. My work actually sent me to Barcelona, Spain, for a work-related trip. I did some photography, videography, and work over there. We have student interns who go and study in Barcelona every semester, and I got to go and capture some of the imagery for that, for social and for website and everything. And that was just the most amazing trip. And it was paid for by my job, which I'd never been overseas before, and that was really cool. I had to get a passport, and now I have a passport, and it has 2 stamps in it because we came back through Germany, and it was just an amazing trip, and I'm super grateful for it, especially that I was able to do it before the pandemic happened, because I don't know when the next time it'll be comfortable or normal to travel internationally again. I hope it is soon. Fail, I did have plans to go to New York this year as a personal vacation, and also for some budget girl stuff. And I was going to go to a conference there and be able to meet some people that I've known for a long time online. And of course, the pandemic happened, and that did not. There was another conference that I was actually going to be a speaker at that was happening in California, and that didn't happen either. And everything was refunded except for one plane ticket, which was fairly cheap. It was less than $100, but it was one of those like flash deal things, so I couldn't get a refund on it, and that kind of sucked. As a win, my job was able to pivot to work from home, which is an absolute huge blessing. And I understand that a lot of people did not have that. And I'm so sorry for what everyone went through this year. I was fairly safe, and I consider myself extremely lucky for that I have an online based job that usually I do in an office, but I was able to do at home. I'm now doing kind of part home, part in the office, and we're trying to be like safe and wear masks in public areas. But overall, that's probably the biggest win of 2020 is for anyone that was able to just kind of like keep their jobs and keep an income in this completely unprecedented situation. So as far as fails, I had some business related goals that I did not hit this year. I was not able to improve my website visit numbers to budgetgirl.com. Things got busy. I was not able to hit my subscriber goals that I had set, and I did not get ahead on content, which is an annual resolution that never happens. And it is Monday, and this video will be posted Monday. 2021. Positive things, however, wins. I did manage to hit 70,000 subscribers by the end of the year. In the last couple of months of the year, I put out a couple of videos, primarily my 7 income streams and 10 habits of highly frugal people, and also my $150 a month house video, and I'll have those linked below, that did really, really well. The 7 frugal things one is over 100,000 views at this point. And that's really, really exciting. And I'm really glad that I got to share all of those, and specifically all of the specific numbers of what I make from each of my income streams. And a lot of people said that it was like a very accessible thing that they were able to hear me talk about, and it sounded attainable, and I was more realistic than a lot of kind of the super selly people who were trying to get you to buy courses and coaching and stuff like that. And yeah, no, the get rich quick thing, not real. You can't get rich slow though. I'm working on it. In Budget Girl Wins, my Etsy shop really blew up this year. I actually was featured in a BuzzFeed article, and it just spurred a ton of traffic and profit to my Etsy page. I actually made close to $5,000 in the month of December off of Etsy alone, which is entirely passive, and I can't still fully process that, but it's amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. I also launched my new merch line with Teespring, which is just meant to be a really fun thing. People have been asking for Budget Girl merch for a very long time, pretty much since I started. I made it. It's just supposed to be like fun money sayings, and so you can, if you wanted to wear or have something that had girls just want to have funds, or maybe spreadsheets will help, any of those kind of funny things, if you wanted to have them, they're now available, and you can purchase them on demand in Teespring. I made my profit level as pretty much as low as they would let me. I am not making really any money off of this, a couple dollars per item, if that. I actually haven't net a positive for that yet, because I did several rounds of pre-printing and proofing to make sure that if you did spend your hard-earned money on it, that you got a product that was actually good quality. And that was expensive, even at cost. Overall, despite everything, especially financially, I actually had a really good 2020, and I am incredibly grateful for what we were able to accomplish on this channel this year, and I'm really excited about 2021. I have a lot of stuff in the works for you guys, and I think you're gonna love it. One quick look back, I'm gonna throw something up on the screen. This is a little chart. I am ending the year with a $95,000 net worth, which is insane, and I feel like I'm definitely on kind of the cusp of people deeming me not relatable anymore. I wanted to show you real quick what the past decade of my life looked like. So I graduated in 2010 with $27,000 in student loan debt. I got a job as a newspaper reporter about 6 months after, and I was making so little that the government said I didn't actually have to pay on my loans, so they were deferred. 3 years later, they had ballooned up to $33,000, and I had lost my job. and I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I was on unemployment, and I swore as soon as I got a new job that I would figure out this finance thing, I would pay off my debt, I would not be that scared anymore. So in 2014, I started my journey, and to have accountability, I started uploading videos to YouTube right here. I will post my first video down below. I wasn't wearing glasses because the reflection and my phone was propped up on a bunch of books, and you can tell. For the next 3 years and 3 months, I hustled really, really hard to increase my income from $26,000 to $30,000. And then at the very, very end, I got my job at A&M where I was making $44,000. At the time, I was also growing Budget Girl a little bit. And in the middle of 2017, I became debt-free. And after that debt-free moment, it became so much easier to build wealth. I continued to grow multiple income streams. I started investing, which means that I have months where I don't have that much to save at the end of the month, but I have these other avenues that are working to generate me more money, which is just incredible. So really in the past 4 years, I was able to grow almost $100,000. And as you learned, I make about 50 grand a year off in my day job. And this year is actually the first year that I've netted more than 10 grand off of Budget Girl. I was able to actually make almost $33,000 off of Budget Girl. And after expenses and the cost of doing everything that I do, it was about 25,000 net, which is insane. Because last year I netted like 10 grand, which was amazing. That's a really good side hustle. But for the amount of work and hours that I put in, I don't want to do that math. No one do that math for me. So yeah, we're growing here, and I'm coming from a place where I didn't get a big inheritance. I've never had a job that paid a lot of money, and I'm learning all of this on my own. And I want to show you that you can do it. You absolutely can do it. You can be the master of your money, and you can improve your financial situation no matter where you're starting. So if you've made it this far in this video, it's huge. I thank you and applaud you. And Maggie would give you a little kiss on the nose if she knew, but she cannot understand. And I hope you will like and subscribe to this channel. I'm working really hard to provide you content that'll make it easier for you to grow your money and master your money so that you can do it the same as I have, hopefully easier than I did, and live the life that you want. I would love it. I would absolutely love it if you shared with me some of your 2020 wins and fails below. I want to cheer for you. I want to be sad for you if something bad happened, and just continue to root you on and be your cheerleader. I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hey, baby.
Bean in here? Hello, Bean.
She is. She was helping me with the video.
I'm gonna let Rory in.
Okay.
You want me to close the door?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I'm almost done.
Oh, okay. Well,
Oh.
make up your mind.
She can't.
Now she's spin. Do you want in or you want out?
I think she wants out. It's getting hot in here.